Most people think getting a raise means getting richer, but in reality, it's often the opposite. I used to think the same way. I got a higher salary, but somehow my money was still gone before the next payday. So, in this video, I'm gonna break down the most common mistakes people make after getting a raise, and more importantly, the real ways to actually get richer once your boss says yes to that raise. I have tested these ideas on my own budget, and the results were very different from before. Mainly, and this is where I share knowledge about finance, economics, and investing in a way that even a 7-year-old can understand. This video was compiled from multiple sources and personal experience, so if there's anything you think is off or needs correction, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Alright, tell me if this sounds familiar. When you get a raise, you might immediately buy a new phone, new clothes, subscribe to Netflix, Spotify, or YouTube Premium, and a few months later, your savings are still zero. At this point, you feel pretty stupid, but you're still like, well, I'll start saving again next month. But then the next month, you say that again. That is lifestyle creep. As your income goes up, the things that used to be nice to have quietly turn into must have. So, what is lifestyle creep? This is a trap nobody tells you about. It's when your income increases, but your life also becomes much more expensive very quickly. This overspending occurs when your standard of living rises along with your income, and finally, your expenses also increase. As a result, your savings or cash barely change. You might feel richer, and technically you are, but your actual savings remain the same. You start eating out more, you subscribe to more services, you shop a little more often. Your small daily expenses add up faster than you realize, and that's why you're not saving anything. Then even your dog is being spent on things it doesn't really need. In short, you're spending money on things you don't really need and you feel it's normal, but it's actually not. Here's a simple example. Say you make $2,000 a month and you save 200. Then you get a raise and now you make 2,500. Sounds great, right? But you immediately spend the extra 500 and still save 200 because you think you just need to save 200 and it's fine. So what actually changed is your saving rate. Before the raise, you were saving 10%, but after it, you're only saving 8. That means even though you earn more, you're actually saving less than before. And over time, this slows down everything like buying a house, getting a car, building real freedom. The raise isn't the problem, it's your habit. Money always fills the gap you give it. If you make that gap bigger, the extra money will flow out just as fast as it came in. Okay, so why this happens? This part might sound a bit uncomfortable, but the real reason this lifestyle exists isn't about money, it's about your brain. Humans are wired to chase short term rewards and constantly compare themselves to others. And there are two things you need to understand here. First, the hedonic treadmill. We adapt to upgrades very quickly. New things feel exciting, but only for a short time. Think about it this way. When you first buy the iPhone 17, it feels special to you, right? But a month later, it's just a normal phone. Unfortunately, your brain resets the baseline. That means owning that iPhone 17 becomes normal. What once felt like a luxury quietly turns into the new minimum. And yeah, to feel that same excitement again, you need the next upgrade. And that's how you end up buying an iPhone 18 next year when it's released. Even though the iPhone 17 you bought this year could easily last you 5 more years. The second thing is social proof and comparison. When your friends upgrade, you feel left behind. I mean, almost everybody does. So you upgrade too. Keeping up makes you feel included, but it also makes your spending completely unintentional. And look, I get it. Shopping is fun, saving is not. Shopping gives you instant dopamine. Saving gives you nothing, at least not right away. But that delay is exactly why saving, compound interest, and financial freedom are so powerful. Okay, this is the part everyone's been waiting for. How to stop wasting money and actually use your next raise the right way. You need to pay yourself first. I've learned a lot of money habits over the years, but if I could only keep one, it would be this one. And here's why. If you don't pay yourself first, your money will happily pay everyone else. Coffee shops, restaurants, apps, subscriptions, random impulse buys. And by the time you finally think about saving, there's nothing left. So instead, the moment your salary hits your account, you take a small portion and move it straight into savings or investments automatically. This way, your future self always gets paid first. When saving is automated, spending becomes a decision and saving becomes the default. Plan for the upgrade. A raise can change your life or it can disappear in just 2 weeks. And it all comes down to the one decision. When your income goes up, you'll be like, let's celebrate. And that's fine, you should celebrate. Just don't let the celebration turn into a permanent life. Instead, plan it. A simple way to do this is something like 50% for daily expenses, 30% for upgrades or shopping, and 20 for long-term goals like saving or investing. This keeps your life balanced while still letting you enjoy the race. It also prevents what I call implicit upgrades, those small unconscious expenses that slowly pile up and quietly eat your entire race. When you plan the upgrade, the race becomes an opportunity, not an expense, and you get to enjoy the upgrades without guilt because they're part of the plan, not a financial accident. 30-day rule. This method is simple. Before buying anything expensive, wait 30 days. After 30 days and you still want it, congratulations. Is probably something you actually need and it is worth buying. This rule helps you avoid buying things, then putting them aside and never using them again. It saves you money by stopping purchases you only wanted in the moment. Keep the core codes. Most people don't go broke from lattes, they go broke from upgrading their life too fast. A simple way to do this is to set a target. Your rent should only take up 25 to 30% of your take home income and keep it there even as your income grows, or stay in the same price range for a few years instead of upgrading your place every time you earn more. Doing this helps you avoid lifestyle creep. When your spending quietly rises without you noticing, which is a very good thing for your long term finances. Use mental accounting. If your money feels like it disappeared, it's because every dollar has no job. Let's fix that using mental accounting. Mental accounting means assigning every dollar a specific job instead of letting all your money sit in one account. When each category had its own envelope, you spend with intention, with clearer purpose, and much more control. This method works because it creates real limits for each type of spending, helping you cut unnecessary expenses. It also reduces decision fatigue. When every dollar already has a job, you don't have to shred over every spending choice. Red purchases. Here's a question that instantly kills 80% of impulse spending. This method leans more on your emotion, and it doesn't always guarantee results. Before buying, simply ask yourself, how much joy will this bring me 6 months from now on a scale 1 to 10? If it's below a 6, skip it. Upgrade intentionally. Don't commit to an expensive upgrade. Test drive the lifestyle first. This idea is simple. Before upgrading to a more expensive version of your life, try a small demo. You can rent a nicer place for a weekend, try a premium version of an app for 1 month, or borrow an expensive item and use it for a few days. The goal is to see if it actually makes your life better. Do you sleep better, work more comfortably, or feel genuinely happier? Or is it just more expensive for no real benefit? After testing it, if you feel it is worth the money and it truly adds value, upgrade slowly. If not, you avoided a big expense without losing anything. In short, do not upgrade based on emotion, upgrade based on real experience. Alright, let's destroy the excuses we all use for why we can't save money. Excuse number one: I work hard, I deserve it. And here's the myth people get wrong: you do deserve nice things, but deserving something doesn't mean buying everything automatically. This isn't about restriction, it's about intention. Don't let upgrades be emotional reactions. Do treat them as planned rewards. That way, you still get the joy of buying without the long term regret of wondering where your money went. Excuse number two: I'll start saving later. Here's the uncomfortable truth: later usually turns into never. This is where compounding quietly does its work. The person who starts today, even with something tiny, always wins. $100 automatic transfer every payday doesn't feel impressive, but it builds momentum. And over time, savings start feeling hard, while your future self slowly becomes wealthier in the background. So, what should you do on your next payday? First, set up an automatic transfer of at least 10% into savings. If you can do more, even better. When it is automated, you don't have to argue with yourself every month. The system does the heavy lifting for you. After that, decide in advance how you will divide any future raise. Set clear percentages now. With rules in place, every raise becomes a smart choice instead of an excuse to spend everything. And finally, try the 30-day rule on something you really want. Quick reminder before you leave: feeling broke is not your fault, but fixing it is in your control. Lifestyle creep is totally normal. It doesn't mean you're bad with money or lacking of discipline. It just means you're human, and the system is designed to make spending feel effortless. The good news is that the fix is actually simple. Plan a little, automate what you can, and make your choices on purpose instead of by habit. Small steps add up. Tiny decisions stack on each other, eventually turn into real freedom for your future self. And that's it. If this video helped, drop a comment. What would you do to avoid this? If you liked the video, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who just got raised and needs a friendly reality check. See you next time, and remember, upgrades are for your life, not for your bills.